I'm Catherine Travis. I'm a Chief Investigator in the Centre of Excellence for the Dynamics of Language, and I'm a Professor of Modern European Languages at the ANU. So as part of the Centre of Excellence for the Dynamics of Language, I'm working on the Sydney Speaks project. And what we're doing in the Sydney Speaks project is that we're trying to document language as spoken in Sydney and how that has changed over time. And we're looking at different ways of speaking across different social groups and at different periods of time. One of the interesting things about studying ethnically diverse centres is that it's been proposed that in these areas language change is going to happen much more rapidly, and that ethnic minorities might lead in some of those changes. So that's one of the things that we can directly test in Sydney Speaks by comparing 1970s and 2010s speech. And we have observed this for one feature that we've looked at, which is word final ER, as in words like teacher, remember, that over time has become longer, so less teacher and more teacher, and less remember and more remember. There was some work on this looking at 1970s and 1980s English, and it was found that there was some ethnolectal variation. So Greek Australians in particular were producing a longer ER, and Anglo and Italian Australians were producing a shorter ER. And we've confirmed that in the data that we're looking at. We also see that. But when we compare with the 2010s, what we find is the communities that we've looked at are Anglo, Chinese and Italian. And we find that all three groups have a longer ER parallel to what the Greeks were producing in the 1970s. So it looks like the Greeks did indeed lead in that change that was then adopted by the broader community, including the Italian community, which is obviously a more established migrant group, and the Chinese community, which is a newer migrant group. Being a part of the Centre of Excellence has really changed the work that I do. It's been wonderful to be part of a much bigger team, so it's really broadened my horizons enormously. One of the things the Centre is doing is trying to harness technology and develop better technology for the kind of work that we're doing. And we've been able to make really good use of that in Sydney Speaks and have done some things before that I just didn't even dream were possible. So in the past, the kind of analyses that I'm doing, people might have, for example, looked at, say, 500 vowel tokens and looked at the patterns in 500 vowel tokens, which is a lot and is great. But today, with the technology that we're using, we're looking at tens of thousands of tokens, which just enables us to much better see the patterns and get much more robust results and a much richer and deeper understanding of how changes are happening and how variation patterns across different groups in society.